Today's presentation is going to be about concrete field paving, rehabilitating your culverts. My name is Heather Spurlino and I work for HydraTech Field Services. And first what we're going to talk about what field paving is. Field paving is utilized when the inverts of corrugated pipes or other types of pipes of culverts become compromised. And you can see in the picture to the right where the corrugated metal on the bottom of the pipe is highly deteriorated. Reinforced concrete is used to coat the bottom of the invert, thus restoring structural integrity. On the video to the left, you can see team members laying concrete. So why field pave? There are several other options to field paving, but they're just not as cost effective, provided your pipe is in good condition, but it's your invert that needs to be rehabilitated. First, you have replacement, and the cost associated with replacement can be very high. You need to get new materials, and then you have labor costs, also safety concerns, especially with utilities, and then restoring above ground. And you have possibly roadways, yards, county roads, and sidewalks, and dealing with the public as well. Next, you have culvert lining. And with culvert lining, there's several types. You have cured in place pipe, which on larger culverts is very expensive. And you have slip lining, which also can be very expensive depending on the diameter of the pipe. In this picture, we have someone doing a spray-on liner. And the cost associated with this is very expensive as well. Because first you would have to go in, de-water and clean, grit blast the surface, and then spray on the liner. So the nice thing about field pave is when the invert of your pipe is deteriorated, and that's the only thing you have a concern with, you can go in and lay a high strength concrete on that invert, and it will eliminate any deterioration you have on your invert. And it's not that expensive to do compared to the other two options because your only costs are materials such as wire mesh and rebar, concrete, and labor. Here we are preparing to pour. The picture on the left shows rebar that has been laid before the wire mesh has been laid. On the picture in the middle of this slide, you can see the mesh has been laid with the rebar. That culvert is ready to be paved, however, it does need to be de-watered. That would happen right before it was field paved. The picture on the right depicts how we are able to navigate vents. So in this segment, we have project examples, and we will show you how HydraTech Field Service actually paves a culvert. So in the first slide, you can see a line pump, which is preferred by HydraTech Field Services because it's easy to negotiate inside the culvert, and it allows for the crews to easily take the system, which is the hose that delivers the concrete, around the invert and also remove sections of that system when they're not in use. In this slide, you can see a culvert invert inspection. The culvert is actually ready to be paved, but an inspection is necessary before paving commences. So the rebar is laid, the wire mesh is in place, the culvert has been cleaned from debris, and you can see we have our system pipe laid out in the culvert. On this third slide, you can see crew members actually laying the concrete. Next, we have crew members removing the system pipe, the delivery pipe, from the culvert, which makes it easier for them to maneuver the line pump's hose around inside the culvert. In this slide, you can see crew members finishing the concrete. And last but not least, inspecting a finished culvert. So this is what a culvert looks like that has been field paved and put back into service. So specifications. For field paving, contractors utilize ODOT specification 611.11. It's field paving of new or existing conduits. On the pictures to our right, you can see a deteriorated culvert. On the picture to the far right, you can see a concrete truck that's delivering concrete. All concrete is tested by ODOT personnel, which will pass or fail the load. Bottom picture shows crew members laying concrete, and then on the bottom right, you can see finished concrete up against the side of the culvert. So, last fall, HydraTech was awarded invitation to bid 316-22 for culvert field pave, and also invitation to bid 314-22-1 culvert cleanout. The top two pictures, you can see where the culvert is being finished by crew members, and the one all the way to the right, you can see what a finished culvert looks like before it's cured. The bottom two pictures are where the culvert needs to be cleaned out from the debris, which would go along with ITB 314-22. So some more examples. On this slide, you can see some deterioration in the culverts, the inverts, which depict that they need to be paved. On the far right, you can see a project manager's shoe, so that shows you how deteriorated that culvert is. On this slide of examples, on the far left, you can see a culvert that has wire mesh and rebar. They just haven't been tied together. On the middle picture, you can see where the crew is actually laying the rebar and wire mesh. And then on the picture on the far right, you can see a culvert that once it's dewatered, it's ready to pour. This slide shows concrete on the left where it's being poured and finished. One in the middle shows a culvert once the concrete has been finished and is curing. And the photo on the far right shows a crew member actually hand finishing the concrete. This slide shows you what two culverts look like once they have been finished. Here are some more examples of culverts that have been finished and cured out. On the picture on the left, you can see our bypass system is still set up. And on the other two pictures, the middle and the far right, you can see where the concrete is cured and ready to be put back in service. In summary, we've learned what is field paving and how does it compare to other options. We've also learned how HydraTech Field Services field paves and examples of our work. So with all that, we look forward to you joining us for other seminars, and please feel free to give us a call if you need any field pave work done in your city.